Right now, House lawmakers are taking a break from their interview with Jeffrey Epstein's longtime executive assistant, Leslie Groff. Victims allege that she arranged many of the massages where Epstein assaulted women and young girls, and she appears in the files more than 150,000 times. She has never been charged with a crime. Joining me now is member of the Oversight Committee who has been in the room with Groff, Democratic Representative from New Mexico, Melanie Stansbury. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us. What's your biggest takeaway so far from what you've heard from Groff?
You know, everything about this case is strange. I think the most important takeaway that I got today out of this interview is that when we were probing her about whether or not she received additional payments outside of her normal salary working for Jeffrey Epstein, she said that her legal fees were paid out of a fund that Jeffrey Epstein set up through his estate after he died. And so even in death, Jeffrey Epstein is still paying the legal fees of people who are witnesses in this case against him. So I think that was one of the more peculiar things that we learned today. Certainly, she worked for Mr. Epstein for 18 years. She was his primary scheduler who worked out of one of his main offices, and she spoke to, almost daily massages that Jeffrey Epstein received. She claims that she did not find that strange, even though she was scheduling them sometimes multiple times a day, as well as acknowledged that she scheduled massages for other men, though when pressed, she would not provide names. So, I think we've filled in some pieces about this case and the operation of the Epstein world, but I think that she has been very careful in how she has presented her story.
Your colleague, Stephen Lynch, just told a reporter that Groff arranged phone calls with notable figures, including President Trump. What more can you tell us about that?
A number of different members of Congress and attorneys have asked her questions about her scheduling of Mr. Epstein with different notable figures. She did say that she scheduled meetings with Trump and connected their calls, but she also noted that she did the same for Prince Andrew. She scheduled other notable figures, including some of the individuals we've interviewed here in the Oversight Committee. I think this is known material. A lot of it is in the files, but it certainly verifies that we know that Trump had an ongoing relationship with Mr. Epstein and was talking to him, and that his personal assistant helped to facilitate those conversations.
A source told MS Now Groff told the committee that she never saw anything improper, but prosecutors say that she was responsible for Epstein's schedule, as you have just mentioned, his meetings and a lot of his travel, scheduling some of those massages. Based off of what you've heard so far, are you convinced that she did not know what was going on?
She certainly has not admitted to anything in the room, and she has provided her point of view and said that she did not see anything improper. But I think all of us are taking this with a huge grain of salt, that somebody who worked for Jeffrey Epstein for 18 years, who scheduled daily massages with young women and arranged for cash transfers. She said in the room that she had arranged housing for girls that were brought to the U.S. by Jean-Luc Brunel through his modeling agency, which we know was trafficking girls from Europe. We know that she admits that, she was intimately involved in arranging appointments. It's very hard to imagine how she did not understand what was going on inside his world, especially after she continued to work for him after his first prosecution. So, the transcript will be made live, hopefully in the next week or so, and people can judge for themselves. But I think the fact, and the reason why I'm emphasizing that even in death, Jeffrey Epstein was paying for her attorney's fees, should raise some very serious questions.
Before I let you go, we only have a little time left, but Groff was named as a potential co-conspirator of Epstein's in several internal DOJ documents, but she's never been charged with a crime, as we noted. What's your understanding of why she was never prosecuted?
So I asked her specifically about DOJ's investigation, and she and her attorney said that they were interviewed in preparation for Maxwell's trial in 2021. She said that she was brought in for several hours, she was questioned, and she was not charged with anything. When we asked if she was given a plea deal or any kind of arrangement by DOJ, she said no. But we have not seen many of the files because the Trump administration is not released the files. And so we don't know exactly what DOJ did in this case after the Maxwell trial. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions.